Thank you for your infinite love, guidance, and protection, Spirit. Please use me as a conduit of light to deliver this message to whoever needs to hear it. Ooh, I'm flying. Rewire the way you love. When pain becomes the pattern in love, it's time to relearn connection. Begin again differently. So, new moon in Libra. Definitely new beginnings, new energy in the air. There's been a closing of a timeline. Anyone still hanging on to this new timeline until you surrender and just flow with whatever spirit is bringing? It's going to be turbulent. It's going to be uncomfortable. You have to allow spirit to work its magic in your life. All right. Through softness, I find strength to stay. Even my mess is worthy of gentle hands. And even when I do nothing, I am still a part of the light. That's so interesting. I think it's really pointing for us to go inward and have that introspection on things that maybe have been holding us back. And Spirit wants to specifically focus on love and how we need to rewire the way that we have trained ourselves to love in this reality, in this timeline, because when we were children, we were shown a certain environment. We were exposed to a certain environment. We were shown a certain way that love is exchanged or not exchanged or withheld, right? So a lot of us have like abandonment wounds or had parents who were emotionally unavailable because they went through whatever they went through, right? They're on their journey, and it could be this generational thing, and it oftentimes is. And so when us light workers come and reincarnate in order to squash these generational curses, we really get thrown a lot of lessons in order to have that opportunity to choose something different. And that's what Spirit's saying right here. We need to rewire the way we love. We need to rewire the way we perceive reality. We need to rewire our brains not to think chaos in love is normal. We need to rewire our brains to see healthy, secure attachment styles are normal. They bring you into your softness and they allow you to be still. They're not controlling. They're not clinging. They're not codependent. They allow you to be still so you're able to shine your light. That's what you came here for. And even though you're going through all these things because you signed up to break these generational curses, you are always protected. You're always worthy. And even in your mess, it says, even my mess is worthy of gentle hands, which means you're protected, you're loved. You always have spirit to call on. The best thing you can do to rewire your brain and to let go of old timelines is just get alone and talk out loud to spirit. Say whatever on your heart. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's so interesting because even when you're alone, when you say something out loud, there's still this feeling that something can hear you, right? Because you're connected to all that is. You're connected to your higher self. So start speaking to that. Start speaking to that inner self, that higher self, so you can come to a more expanded understanding of where you've been in order to let go of that old identity to expand into where you're supposed to be and where you're going and what's a higher version of you, a version of you that is more fulfilling, that brings in things that are filling and overflowing your cup instead of draining it all the time with these codependent relationships, with these patterns in love that are just keeping us looping in toxic codependent cycles, trauma bond cycles, because we keep people pleasing or we keep getting into relationships with like someone with an anxious attachment style and someone with a dismissive attachment style. A lot of us are both and don't even realize, but we want to like point the finger at whoever's showing up more strongly in one area or another in a relationship. But really, we just have to point inward, because once you become fully reliant on your own self-love, you step into a secure attachment style. And that is in a receiving mode to attract in somebody else who is also a secure attachment style. Frost of stillness. Embrace the frost of stillness, wherein the calm of icy pause, reflective clarity is found. Again, validating that we need to go inward. We need to retrospect. We need to really take a look at how we've been looping in our old cycles of relationships and step into a space that is more of self-love, so we can just attract in what we desire in our life, or what is meant to come into our life. Soul whispers, look beyond the worlds and hear what is really being said now. Again, Spirit is asking you to get quiet, tap into your intuition, see what the universe is whispering to you. And it's not going to be the same old thoughts, right? How do you know when you can trust a thought that comes in? How do you know it's from Spirit? Because you can gauge it by the way you feel. You can gauge it by how you feel, in like just really tune and tap in to what a thought is feeling like. Or if you're responding to a certain situation, where does that response come from? Is this thought of the highest good? Ask yourself that. Say it out loud. How does it feel when you say that? Your answers are there. They're always there. We just aren't quiet enough and in tune enough, and we don't trust what comes through. A lot of times we trust our ego much more and our old identity much more than a whisper from our higher self. And that's because of the old program. That's because we have to rewire the way we think about life and love, right? And this, what do we get? T card, did we get? Clouds. It says temporary problems. That means everything is temporary. Everything is a cycle. Everything, nothing ever stays the same forever. Everything is constantly changing. Energy is constantly moving. So these problems that you may be facing right now because you're detaching from that old identity, they're temporary. They're not forever. And if you've been on this ascension journey a while and you're still very committed to your own expansion, there's nothing to worry about, because that faith will carry you, and Spirit always has you. And you know that because you've received evidence of that before. So why doubt it now? So yeah, guys, today's message, rewire the way you think about love, the way you think about life, and get quiet so you can allow those intuitive nudges to come in and expand in the way you need to expand. All right, guys, that's your message for today, and I will see you on the next one.